it's bittersweet that we're presenting this proclamation to Jayne, honoring her as she retires from Impact Silver Spring as their executive director. Let me first say to you, Jayne, and to your family, we've known you for a long time. Personally, the Jawandos and your husband and I are both alums, as well as Michelle of the Congress and the Senate. And you've been a trusted advisor to us, to me personally and professionally, and to the entire council in various situations. Just not only separate and apart from your organizing and the great work you've done at Impact. Jayne is an innovative thought leader. And since she joined the organization in 2014, her leadership and efforts have helped elevate Impact's ongoing advocacy, which was already doing quite a bit, and making real progress on addressing systemic racial and economic challenges in our county. And this is important work, and you've been up to the task. Some of the long list of accomplishments that you have, it's too long to list, but I'm going to mention just one in particular. You have been critical, and it's auspicious that we're doing this today, in working with us to develop our guaranteed income pilot that we just was put out of the HHS committee yesterday. You provided valuable insight in the strategies for the outreach and the design and how we would do community engagement in every part of Montgomery County. So we want to thank you and honor you today for all of your great work in Montgomery County and around this area, really, because it hasn't just touched Montgomery County, it touched Prince George's and DC and Baltimore. You've been an impact in the whole region. And while we know you're retiring from this role, we hope you get some rest and that you'll still, as a resident, work with us for a more equitable Montgomery County. So I'm going to read the proclamation, and Council President, if you want, we can trade off if you'd like to read it with me. And then if you could moderate any council members that would like to make remarks after we read the proclamation. So do you have it up? I'll make sure you have it up. Okay. And you're on mute.
I do. Thank you. Yeah.
No problem. All right. Proclamation of Montgomery County Council. Whereas Ms. Jayne Park has served as the executive director of Impact Silver Spring since 2014, bringing her extensive background and experience in the nonprofit and philanthropic sectors throughout the Washington metropolitan area to the organization. And
whereas during her time as executive director, Ms. Park brought innovative change to Impact Silver Spring's core foundation and outreach efforts that have helped to build a more fair and equitable community for Montgomery County residents. And
whereas under her thoughtful leadership, Impact Silver Spring built community-based networks in diverse neighborhoods with the goal of transforming neighborhood culture from one of isolation, division, and mistrust to one of connection, mutual understanding, and a sense of belonging. And
any other council members want to jump in here? You could.
Yeah. They probably don't have it pulled up, but yes.
Okay. You want me to keep going? Whereas her leadership and dedicated efforts have helped further elevate Impact Silver Spring's ongoing advocacy and work in making systemic racial and economic change in Montgomery County. And
whereas Ms. Park has also been an invaluable asset in the initial development of our guaranteed income pilot program in Montgomery County. Her expertise in community engagement has been extremely important in shaping the framework and outreach strategies for the pilot program. And
whereas Ms. Park's legacy of innovative leadership and community transformation sets a standard that will be followed for years to come.
Now, therefore, be resolved, the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland hereby extends best wishes and heartfelt thanks to Ms. Jayne Park as she begins her next chapter, and be it further resolved that we share our deepest gratitude for the valuable impact she has made throughout Montgomery County. Presented this day, the 7th of September in the year 2021, signed by myself, Council President Hucker, on behalf of the entire council. Jayne, we love you very much, and you're going to have to hold off and hear from other council members before you can respond. So, Councilmember President, I turn it over to you for that.
Sure. Thank you. I didn't prepare anything, but Jayne, we met so long ago when you were in your previous role. And I remember the first day you took over Impact Silver Spring and how I felt so proud and confident that you were going to really transform the place. And you've absolutely done that. You've done such tremendous work, not just for the residents of Silver Spring, but for the whole county. And you were ahead of your time. I mean, under Council President Navarro, everybody knows we passed a racial equity and social justice resolution, and now we're just receiving the regulations for it. You're ahead of your time. You were doing that work and laying that groundwork and having those difficult conversations years ago that I'm sure led to this national conversation that we've all welcomed, and the commitment that this council made unanimously to do that work. But as the bumper sticker says, if the people lead, the leaders will follow. And you've been leading in this space for a very long time, and I'm really grateful for all your help and partnership. Council Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I first met Jayne when we participated together in the short-lived but very impactful Rawlings Fellowship at the University of Maryland. And I was struck almost immediately by her peacemaking ability and her humility, but her ability to build bridges among some really diverse groups of people, including some really strong leaders with very strong personalities. Jayne has just done an absolutely outstanding job in her capacity in impact in Silver Spring, but more importantly, in her capacity just as the community as a whole. You are just a model of everything that's good in Montgomery County, Jayne. And I know that you're going to continue to stay committed. I hope you are going to continue to stay committed, because we still need your help in so many different areas. But congratulations to you on this important recognition. We are all better off because of you. Thanks.
Councilmember Novato.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Councilmember Jawando, for bringing this up. So Jayne, I have to say, one of the most, in my opinion, challenging things to do is to be at the helm of an organization that is a wonderful organization and just take it to that next level. And Impact Silver Spring has done so much for our county. Once upon a time when I wasn't even thinking about running for anything, I participated in the leadership program, the Impact Silver Spring, under Frankie Blackburn. It was just launched. And back then, many of those principles, many of those values that were established, in a time when there were people saying, oh no, these issues are not a big deal, or you're ahead of your time, and things like that, have proven to be so critical for our county. And Impact Silver Spring has been there during each and every chapter of this extraordinary story of Montgomery County. And so when I think back of, at a time when we were launching things like the community action teams, working in Wheaton and Connecticut Avenue Estates, and bringing Impact Silver Spring to say, it's not just about code enforcement, it's also about building community. And then literally 6 months later, seeing the community coming together to do cleanups and to celebrate, a community that was deeply divided with a lot of naysayers, right? That were very angry because they kept saying, well, why are we bringing in an organization? We need code enforcement. And that ability to understand and recognize that even in Montgomery County, a place that is so amazing, that we do have a lot of challenges of that sort at the community level, and that Impact Silver Spring always stepped in a very thoughtful way, was able always to just create those bridges. When I think about the work on racial equity and social justice, again, something that was part of the ethos of Impact Silver Spring, even in that time, 20-something years ago, when I was doing that leadership program with people like Manny Hidalgo, that you were able to take that on again and gave it life to the point that now we have this legislation. Again, speaks volumes for something that is very challenging, which is to, again, lead an organization to that next level. You have always understood what are those needs, what are the horizon issues, and always stepped in there. So I just salute you because your impact is felt in every level of our county, and you have laid a foundation that is only going to help, again, transition us to a next level, but really to a level that hopefully, in my humble wish for our county, continues to build those bridges, continues to provide a space, a container, as Impact used to always say, a container for people to come in and be able to be vulnerable and at the same time find those common connections. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We salute you. And we wish you all the best. And of course, stay connected because we are going to need you now more than ever.
Councilmember Glass.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jayne, it is so good to see you this morning. And I too appreciate Councilmember Jawando for inviting you to honor you this morning for everything that you've been doing. Impact and you are incredible catalysts for change. And whether it is the English language circles that take place, the entrepreneurial collaboratives that you support, or the community gardens that I've helped you grow here in Montgomery County, you and the organization are keeping county services focused on those who need those services. You're not so much lending a voice, but you're providing a space for those to share their voice. And for that, I am most appreciative. And I'll just say that you lead by example and you lead by your heart. And I look forward to continue seeing your leadership here in the county. And I know that Impact will continue doing great things. So thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Councilmember Katz.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And, I have to tell you that I was always aware of Impact Silver Spring. It's obviously not in the district where I live and represent, but I certainly go to Silver Spring and was certainly aware of them. But I really became aware of them and you, Jayne, over the last several years. And in one way, I understand why you're called Impact Silver Spring. But another way, they might want to think about changing their name to Impact Montgomery County, because that's what you do. We are in different districts, sort of in political districts on the county council, but we're really not. We are one Montgomery County, and what affects one, I always call it their family. What affects one member of their family affects every member of their family. And you and your organization have proven that time and time, pretty much every day, again, because that is what you do. And for that, we sincerely thank you for everything that you've done and the organization has done. Thank you very much. Mr. President, I turn it back to you.
Thank you, Councilmember Katz. Councilmember Rice.
Well, thank you very much. And a lot has already been said, but let me just say, Jayne, that a tremendous leader is one that knows that when they step away from an organization, that the organization will continue to prosper and do great things. And I know that you step away knowing that that is the case with Impact Silver Spring. And while it is with a heavy heart, I'm sure that you step away because you've invested so much in the organization. You know that the organization is set up well to continue to do great things and great work. And so I just really want to thank you for that, because legacies matter. Legacies are incredibly important to continue building on all of the great things you've done, focusing on racial and social justice, making sure that there's economic empowerment. Those are all things that are incredibly important as we try to really undo the systemic racism that we've seen in this country for so long across so many sectors, right? And, it's oftentimes not talked about our Asian and Pacific Islander community and the racism and the challenges that they've experienced as well, and continuing to lift that up in concert with the other challenges that we've seen in our community is incredibly important. So I appreciate you for that and for really ensuring that my home, where I was born and raised in Silver Spring, will continue to be well represented with a community and nonprofit focus that really continues these great initiatives that you've started under your leadership. So congratulations and thank you.
Awesome. Councilmember Reamer, do you want? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just joining. Apologize, but thank you, Jayne. We're just Silver Spring Impact Silver Spring has been one of the most cutting edge organizations in the county, and you've been at the forefront of all of our most critical needs, taking on the work in a way that few organizations are able to do. You have partners and you have a team that you build your campaigns with, but you have been a leading light and such a big part of our civic impact. And I'm really just grateful for your leadership. I think of leadership in the county. It's community leaders like you that make everything work. So thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I'll turn it over to you, Jayne. I know you work with a great team, and Michael will be coming in, but I want to thank them too, because you couldn't do it without them. But turn it over to you. Thank you for any comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Jawando, and everybody for this incredible recognition and honor, which quite frankly was a little bit unexpected. So I'm deeply grateful. Serving as the Executive Director of Impact for the last 7 years has been a great, great privilege. But my relationship to Impact, like Councilmember Navarro's, goes back even before this time. I was an active member of the Impact Network under Frankie Blackburn's leadership. I was a member of Ronnie Galvin's leadership team when he was the director. So my roots and connection to this organization run long and deep. And I've done my best over the last 7 years to build upon the innovative work of my two predecessors, alongside a stellar staff team. And as Councilmember Jawando said, under the continued leadership of our dedicated and talented staff and our network of hundreds of resident leaders, I am confident that Impact will continue its important and necessary work well into the future. So while I've made the decision to step aside from my current role to make room for other leadership, I remain deeply, deeply committed to Impact's goals of advancing racial equity and justice in Montgomery County. So I'm going to continue to find ways to contribute towards building a county where every person has what they need to thrive. Montgomery County is my home. I've lived here for over 20 years. It's where my husband grew up. My in-laws still live here, and I raised my two beautiful children here as well. So my commitment to advancing this work in this county remains unwavering. So this is by no means a goodbye. You'll still be seeing me around, I promise you, in varying capacities. And so I look forward to continuing to work with all of you in the future. So thank you again.
Thank you, Jayne. Congratulations, and we're glad you're going to stick around.